Manipulators are already watching you right now. Your success? It is under active attack. So in this explainer, we are skipping the pleasantries. We need to build your psychological armor immediately. Navigating social dynamics is a high-stakes game. You are constantly surrounded by personalities that are slippery, calculating, and inherently manipulative. You just can't afford to be a passive spectator in your own life or career anymore. You have to become an active, influential participant. The stakes are literally too high to walk into these professional environments completely blind. Because every single day you operate without a defensive strategy is another day you leave yourself entirely exposed to exploitation. And here is a terrifying reality. Toxic people hold a remote control to your emotions. If you leave your insecurities unexamined, you leave the front door of your mind wide open. Predators, they don't need to construct elaborate traps to take you down. They simply observe. They watch your reactions. They catalog your sensitivities. Unexamined flaws and that hidden need for external validation act as open doorways. Manipulators map these out, and they press those buttons whenever it serves their agenda. Your own vulnerabilities do the heavy lifting for them. They trigger your anger or your self-doubt effortlessly, forcing you into a corner while they maintain total control of the narrative. So let's get into Strategy 1, Master Your Hidden Psychological Triggers. To do this, you must stare your own messiness directly in the face. Take a brutal, fearless inventory of your personal flaws, your past mistakes, and your ego. The psychologists specializing in interpersonal behavior who documented this phenomenon note that individuals who lack internal validation operate with an invisible vulnerability. They highlight a devastating biological hijack. Every time someone challenges your authority, questions your competence, or delivers a subtle slight, your nervous system responds before your conscious mind can even intervene. Your adrenaline spikes, your heart races. This automatic defensive posturing is precisely what manipulative personalities are hunting for. They want to see you sweat. They want to see you scramble to justify yourself. Because here's the thing. Defending an inflated ego makes you a reactive instrument. Your self-worth becomes incredibly fragile, entirely contingent upon the approval of slippery, untrustworthy individuals. But radical self-acceptance? That gives you absolute power. You strip away the control panels that others use to manipulate you. External criticism must permanently lose its sting. When you are deeply comfortable with your own imperfections, you develop a thick, impenetrable psychological armor. Just imagine the exact feeling of watching a manipulator launch a carefully crafted insult, only for it to shatter completely against your composure. You stop absorbing emotional blows. Instead, you observe the interaction from a detached, clinical distance. You watch their frantic, aggressive energy, and you remain entirely unshakable. Which brings us to Strategy 2, Silence Mind and Deeply Observe. To survive out there, you absolutely must strip away a severe cognitive handicap. Standard listening is a trap. You heard me right. Most human communication is a highly elaborate performance where spoken words actually conceal true intentions rather than reveal them. Average people just mentally rehearse their next sentence while the other person is speaking. This is conversational narcissism, and manipulators exploit it flawlessly. They run circles around their distracted peers, they offer reassuring smiles, they maintain perfectly polite eye contact, they mimic active listening, all while orchestrating hidden, destructive agendas just beneath the surface. You are caught in their illusion because you are only listening to what they want you to hear. So silence your internal monologue immediately. Abandon standard listening habits. Dedicate 100% of your cognitive bandwidth to the physical reality in front of you. Pay acute attention to the micro-expressions flashing across their face for mere fractions of a second. Listen for the subtle vocal pitch shifts that betray anxiety. Watch for a suddenly defensive, rigid posture when a specific topic is introduced. Look for frantic hand movements or nervous tics. These are the involuntary leaks of the human nervous system. You must catch the physical panic that completely contradicts their calm, measured words. Stop worrying about how you are being perceived. Clear your mind of static noise and insecurity. Tune directly into the emotional frequency of the room. You can actually detect desperate overcompensation the moment it enters your space. You must transform from a passive target into an acute, unforgiving psychological investigator. Think of a conversation where someone praised you, but their eyes remained cold and calculating. That is the disconnect. You need to read those true motives long before the manipulator even realizes their mask has fully slipped. You analyze the baseline, you spot the deviation, and you anticipate the strike before it happens. Let's move on to Strategy 3, Weaponize Cold Behavioral Pattern Recognition. Manipulators rely heavily on compartmentalization. They deliberately disguise hostile acts as isolated mistakes to gaslight your intuition. You must upgrade your cognitive operating system to see through this. View human behavior through a cold, empirical lens. Treat every interaction like a tactical military operation gathering intelligence. Step 1. A colleague breaks a critical promise. Note it meticulously as data point 1. Step 2. They subtly undermine you in front of leadership. Note it as data point 2. Step 3. By the third repetition, you are no longer dealing with coincidence. Visualize exactly how repeated exploitation escalates into an undeniable behavioral vector. There are no innocent mistakes anymore. There is only a documented pattern of hostility. History is your absolute shield. Stop wasting valuable energy trying to fix, reform, or understand toxic people who have a proven track record of untrustworthiness. The consequences of not using history as a shield are devastating. Give a toxic person a second or third chance, and they will systematically dismantle your career and your reputation. Instead, quietly and ruthlessly erect hard boundaries. Restrict their access to your inner circle and your vital information. Safeguard your professional trajectory. Never fall for the same trick twice. You must navigate complex professional landscapes with absolute strategic clarity and zero sentimentality. Now for strategy 4. Neutralize predatory emotional contagion instantly. Humans are deeply tribal creatures, and toxic personalities weaponize this biology. They thrive on manufacturing drama, anxiety, and conflict. Emotional contagion is simply the subconscious tendency to catch and mirror the emotional states of those around us. This is exactly why you can walk into a seemingly normal meeting and suddenly feel inexplicably anxious, irritable, or defensive for reasons you cannot fully explain. A manipulator has deliberately injected tension into the room. They poison the atmosphere to destabilize everyone else. If you walk into that space without a firm emotional anchor, you instantly absorb their manufactured storm and become a pawn in their chaos. You face an unforgiving binary choice here. You cannot afford to be the thermometer. The thermometer is a reactive victim. It merely reflects the toxic temperature of the room, rising and falling at the whim of the manipulator. You must become the thermostat. The thermostat possesses absolute power. It is the dominant authority that actively sets the temperature of the room. You dictate the climate. You override the chaos. Become the source of the environment's weather. Cultivate unshakable inner calm. Project a relentlessly positive, authoritative frame. When a manipulative individual attempts to pull you into their swirling vortex of drama and panic, you respond with immovable composure. Imagine them crashing against you like a wave hitting a concrete seawall. Your silence and stability neutralize their influence entirely. Their disruptive tactics fall completely flat, exposing their erratic behavior to everyone else. When you hold the frame, people naturally abandon the manipulator and gravitate towards your undeniable stability. Yet, even when you project absolute stability, a hidden, insidious threat remains. Think of a specific person in your professional life right now who always seems to be cheering you on, but leaves you feeling drained. Ask yourself this question: why does their support feel strangely heavy? Pause and let that sink in. We are about to unmask the deadliest and most venomous force operating in professional environments today. Strategy 5. Identify the venomous envy mask. Envy is almost never displayed openly. Envious colleagues harbor deep-seated resentment toward your rising success, but they will never attack you directly. Instead, they disguise their malice behind intense friendship or excessive flattery. They engineer constructive criticism specifically designed to shatter your confidence right before major milestones. They subtly plant seeds of doubt about your abilities among higher-ups. Trust your gut when support feels hollow. When your intuition flags a discrepancy between their warm words and cold energy, implement strict operational security. A leaked project detail to an envious colleague can easily be weaponized to sabotage your launch. Keep major strategic moves and future plans completely close to the chest until they are finalized. Do not feed ammunition to potential detractors. Eliminate these hidden anchors that threaten to drag you down. Actively and ruthlessly curate your network. Build a tight-knit circle of elite, secure allies. You need individuals who are fundamentally secure in their own skin, possessing high competence and mutual integrity. These are the people who genuinely celebrate your wins, contrasting sharply with the envious anchors who secretly plot your downfall. Ensure your ascent is built on absolute trust, elite discernment, and uncompromised personal power. You now have the frameworks. You have the psychological armor. But do not let your guard down for a single second. Human dynamics are a constant, unrelenting test of your boundaries and your perception. Look around your professional circle. The chilling, unresolved reality is this: the next manipulator is already in the room with you. The only question is, will you spot them before they strike?